Hey everyone, welcome back to another Ross review. Now I know you guys have been asking me to do more and more Australian cars, and today I am happy to deliver on that. Here we've got a 2013 Holden VF SS-V Redline ute, and this ain't stock, guys. This particular one has got a top mount Walkinshaw supercharger fitted, which now makes over 586 horsepower to the rear wheels. This is going to be a fun day. That's right everyone, today we're standing next to the 2013 Holden SS-V Redline ute, and I just gotta say, this thing looks bloody good. I think Holden really nailed it on the head with the design here, and this being the last generation that Holden really ever came out with, I think they did a damn good job. Now the VF model was launched back in 2013 and carried through all the way up until Holden's unfortunate demise in 2017. Though these did get a performance upgrade in 2015, but the style stayed the same. Now one other thing to mention, you could actually get these in 3 different body styles. So you could get it in the ute like we have here, you could get it as a sedan, or you could get it as a wagon. Now this was sold primarily in Australia and New Zealand, though this was actually offered in the US as a Chevrolet SS, they'll only receive these as a sedan. Now just coming under the bonnet, we've got a 6-liter V8 here. This thing from factory would have made around 392 horsepower and 390 pound-foot of torque from factory. Though like I said, this thing is now sporting a Walkinshaw top-mounted supercharger, and from the dyno sheet, this thing is now making over 586 horsepower to the rear wheels. Now unfortunately, I don't have a full mods list in front of me, but when we go for the drive, we'll give it a little bit and we'll see if we can feel any other mods that maybe are in here. Now just coming down to the wheels, these obviously are an aftermarket set. I'll show you what this thing would have had from factory. But now one really good aspect up here is that these actually got factory Brembos fitted for all the Redline versions. This was really meant to be more of the track focused Holden, and for that this thing got, you know, stiffer suspension and these very nice Brembo brakes up front. Now just at the back of the SS-V Redline here, pretty standard stuff. You know, you've got your badging here, exhaust. Take a listen to this thing. And then you just come to the best part of what any ute offers you. You just lift this off, drop down the tailgate, and bam. These things are just so practical and equipped with stubby holders as well. All right, so inside the Redline SS-V here, guys, and this thing is actually really nice. The door panels, for example, have just got this gorgeous suede. You have a lot of faux carbon fiber all throughout the dash, the wheel, even on the door sides. And this is a massive improvement over a lot of the Ford competitions. Holden just has a nicer interior. I especially love the seats. They're this very large, bulky, but with beautiful leather. They do have some side bolstering as well, though they are tailored for a bigger person. But very nice nonetheless. You do also have beautiful red stitching in here. Even on the dash, you know, red stitching. You've got an SS-V logo embroidered in there. Just looks top notch. I do got to give it to Holden. They really nailed the interior on this. I think they did a damn good job. Now, things I don't like. The touchscreen infotainment system, it works. It's got features that you want, reverse camera, you know, you can play Bluetooth, go on the radio, whatever you want to do, you can pretty much do it, but it's kind of laggy and I've just never had that good of an experience on it. Dual climate control is very easy to use, simple, nice, good. Electronic handbrake. I just hate these things. I don't know why people put these in cars nowadays. It's just the worst thing ever. Because when you go to park, and then that's something just satisfying about pulling up on the handbrake, and when you lose that, especially in a car like this, I think that's a real negative. But on the positive here, we do have a fantastic 6-speed manual gearbox. But all in all, guys, I gotta say, you know, this is a pretty nice interior. There is a few bits of hard plastic, which doesn't look the best, but I gotta give credit where credit's due, and this is a really nice interior by Holden. So, enough about what's in here. Let's get this thing out and hear some of that supercharger whine. Now, just driving this, I definitely think that this has a short shifter installed. The gear changes are just like so short, very precise, and overall just feels like a really solid gearbox here. It does still have sort of that notchy Holden feel, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I gotta give credit where it's due. This is a really nice gearbox. And I just gotta say, the driving position in this is really bang on. The seats are really comfortable, lots of adjustment, and I got no complaints at all. Good visibility basically everywhere. Oh, oh, oh yes. She almost broke out a little bit there, but wow, that is just crazy pickup. Like, holy, yeah, this thing is every bit of 586 horsepower. I'll tell you that. This thing feels good. And this is just rolling onto it. Oh my God, that second gear. I don't even trust myself to really flat foot this thing in first, so I give it to it a bit more in second, and holy shit, this thing just goes. It's just biting for traction, and man, does this thing feel good. And these brakes really do a good job of stopping this thing. Holy jeez. Oh, I can't get over that second gear in this car. That is just insane. Like, that was like 3,000 RPM, and this 3,000 RPM, and oh my goodness, that does not feel like 3,000 RPM. Going from 3 to 4,000 in second gear is like the most satisfying thing you can do. It just feels so good. Oh my God, that is so nice. This thing was built to be a track car from Holden, essentially, and You know, they upgraded the suspension, they upgraded the brakes, and they did a lot to compete with HSV. You know, if you didn't want to go to the HSV, this was the top of the range Holden right here. And I've driven a few HSVs now, and this thing feels damn good, just as good as an HSV. But obviously this does have modifications, so that tells you something how good HSV is. But with this supercharger fitted, this feels definitely like LSA territory, but I'm even gonna say this probably feels a little bit better. And I think that's due to it being a ute. This thing is lighter, and because of that, it does play up a little bit more. It is a bit more of a handful, which I like. All right, so it's time for the 5 questions. This is a new segment I'm trying to introduce to my show here. I'm gonna do these for every video I do, and hopefully this will bring a little bit more consistency to the channel and help you guys sort of gauge each car a little bit better. So question number 1. How does it sound? Well, it sounds bloody good, I'll tell you that. I will say, I think it could sound better, but Supercharger 1, big V8, yeah, what more can you say? This thing sounds bloody good. Question number 2, how does it handle? Well, this thing handles surprisingly well. For a rear-wheel drive, near-on 600 horsepower car, this thing is pretty damn good. The suspension in this is very well composed. The steering is fantastic, and you do get hardly any body roll. Hardly any body roll in this thing. The only thing is, obviously, the rear end likes to light up, so you have to be very careful how much you give the throttle on a corner. But all in all, I gotta say this thing handles really well for what it is, and Holden did a damn good job. Question 3, how much is it? From factory, you would have picked this up new for $48,990. Now that's before options and everything. Decent amount of money, but this is a decent amount of car. Now this particular one is from Car Giant WA. It is for sale. This thing has 36,000 kilometers on it, and it's for sale for 45 grand. So this thing obviously is not factory. It does have a lot of modifications done to it, and it is in excellent condition. So I honestly think it's probably priced accordingly, considering these things aren't being made anymore and really are a bit of Australian history now. Question number 4, would it make a good daily? Well, if you had the sedan or if you had the wagon, this would make a great daily. Now you would have fuel costs to factor in. Fuel costs would be quite substantial, but maintenance, fairly low. Parts are relatively easy to get, fairly cheap to work on, and it is fairly reliable. Now, this being the ute, not very practical as a people mover, but it is quite practical if you want to move large items. You do have that truck liner bed in the back there, so it's a fairly practical vehicle, really. All right, now, 5th and last question, 0 to 100 impressions. Let's pull up onto this back street here and just see how she goes to 100. Drop her into first. Okay. This is so powerful that your 0 to 100 times, is quite slow because it's just too fast. As you can see there, I had to really be careful not to spin, and very fun to do. Probably highly illegal, but fun nevertheless. All right, guys, what else can I say? This is absolutely an amazing ute, and I've just had so much fun today taking this out. So a massive, massive thank you to Car Giant WA for allowing me to take this out today. This is actually for sale, everyone, so if you're interested, check them out. A link will be in the description. This thing's pretty crazy. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If so, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we'll see you on that next video.